So the first automation, we have two databases. We have tasks and projects. And in fact, in this video, we are going to use the task database too often. So we have many automations just related to the tasks and the projects. So anyway, let's dive in. The first automation is, for example, when you have projects related to many tasks, once we switch the status of one of those tasks to in progress, the projects automatically also switch from not started to in progress. So let's say we have this project, which is design new website, and let's add two tasks for it. So let's say the first one is design the home page wireframe, for example. All right. So this is the first task. As you can see, here is it here. You can add a time, it doesn't matter for now. And then let's add another task. Choose the color palette. And now let's start building the automation. So let's go ahead to the task database here and let's name it project in progress. We are going to trigger that once the status of the task changed from not started to in progress, the project related to it also should change. So when status is in progress, we have to do an action. We are going to define, first of all, a variable, and we are going to name it project. So this variable will call the projects related to this task. So we're going to create a formula, and we're going to trigger the page, call the projects related to it. So trigger page, which is the task that we have right now. We're going to add an action, which is edit this project page status to in progress. So let's recall that. When the status of the task changed to in progress, the projects related to it also will change to in progress. So we can edit page, and we are going to select the project that we just created, the variable, and we're going to edit status to in progress. So let's enable that one. And now let's go for any task here, the two that are related to this project. So let's switch them to in progress. So as you can see, it successfully changed to in progress. It's a simple automation, but it's really useful. Now, the second automation that we have is task duration. I already have this automation in my second brain system. Let me show you how it works, then let's create it. So if we go here to the tasks manager here, and let's add any task, let's say go to gym, and then I'm going to set a time for this task. So let's say I'm going to go to gym at 12 p.m., right? And let's say that it's done. Now, automatically, if we go to the done view here, we will see how much it took us to finish this task. Now, the formula here is a little bit advanced. So, for example, let's say that you didn't set a time for the task. So let's set a task without a time, and let's say it's done. Now, automatically, it will show you that this task, there is no time added. If you only work on the task for a few hours, it will show you hours and minutes. If it only was few minutes, will only show you minutes. If it's also take days, it will show you days. So let's go here to the task manager. I already created the formula here, task duration, but let me delete it, and completion dates, which is, let me delete it too. So let's start from scratch. We need two properties to achieve this automation. The first one is another days property, which is completion date. So this date will be triggered once we switch the status from not started to done. Then we need the formula, and let's call it task duration. I already have the formula here, so I'm just going to paste it right away. So here is it. You can take a look at it. In fact, I forget to mention that this template or this automation, you will find them in the link in this description for free. So even if you are on a Notion free plan, you can take those databases with already built automation, and you can build your system around them. All right. So yeah, it's totally free in the description below. So let's create our automation, and let's call it task duration. When the status is done, then all what you need to do is trigger the completion date. So it is property, completion date, time triggered, and that's it. Let's say I finished this task for today, it's done. Or before that, let's set that time for it. Let's say 12 p.m. So let's switch the status to done, and we are going to wait a few seconds, and here it is, 2 hours and 3 minutes. It's what took us to finish this task. We can go to this task, for example, make it for today, and because we didn't set any time for it, we should say there's no time added. Let's move on now to the third one. When the parent task is done, all the child need to be done too. For example, let's say that this task here, let's switch it back to not started, and we can add some sub-tasks. I'm just going to write sub-tasks for now. Let's add 2, subtask number 1 here, and let's add subtask number 3. Here's it. So when this task status switch from anything not started in progress to done, all the other sub items or children's should also switch to done, all of them. So let's go to the automation here and let's say parent is done. So when the status is done, we're going to define a variable which is the sub tasks. So define variable, we call it sub task, and we're going to trigger the page and call sub item. Right now, here's the thing: make sure that you are enabling sub tasks. So go to the settings here, because I already activated the sub item. It's here, but for you, you can go to more settings and then you will find add sub item. So let's go back to our automation and finish it. So when the parent is done, we want to trigger the sub item. Then we are going to edit them or edit the status of them from whatever it is to done. Edit page in sub task, which is the variable that we call, and the status to done. Now, if we went to this task and switch the status to done, automatically all the child now need to switch to done. All right, it works. So all of them are now done. Now, what if we talk about the other way? Like when all the subtasks or the children are done, then the parents automatically should be done. So let's do that. Let's switch back to not started for all of them. And to do that, first of all, we need a formula. So formula, and we're going to call it completed sub item. Here is the formula. Here is it. But let me explain to you how it works. It checks if every subtask connected to this task is marked as done. That's how it works. I hope you get my point. So now let's go to automation and let's create a new one and let's call it child or subtasks are done. All right. So the first trigger will be when the status is complete, of course. Then let's define a variable which is the parent. So the parent item, right? And let's add a formula. So trigger page dot parent item dot first. So we're going to call the first parent item. Let's save it. Then let's define another variable. Just going to keep the name variable 1. Now this variable will check if all the subtasks are completed. So map trigger page dot parent item current dot completed subtasks, then first. And then what we have to do is all the sub children's or the subtasks are marked as done. We're going to switch this parent item or this parent task to done. So edit page in our variable, which is parent item, and let's edit property, which is status, and we're going to add a custom formula. So if the variable 1 equal true, then make the status or return the status as done. So let's see if it's going to work. So let's mark the first task as done, the second one 2, and finally the third one. And as you see here, the task status now is done. Now, the automation number 5 is just a recent idea I implement in my Notion second brain system. Let me show you how it works and how cool is it. And I'm going to show you also how to build it. So let's go. So here in our second brain system, let's add a task that, let's say you've been procrastinating a lot of time. So let's say finishing my final section in my website. All right, so this is something I've been procrastinating for a long time. Most of you guys are familiar with the 5 minutes rule, which is you jump on a task for 5 minutes, you say to yourself, I'm just going to do it for 5 minutes. I'm not going to finish it, just 5 minutes. And the study shows that 90% you are more likely to finish this task and keep doing it. The idea is simple. You have a task here and then you switch the status to just 5 minutes and automatically a timer will start, which is a 5-minute countdown. Here in my second brain system, we have a progress that will show you like 16%, 15%, and then 100%. That means the 5 minutes is end. Also, we have this 5 minutes kickoff date property, which based on it, the calculation starts. Then once the 5 minutes ends, it will show you, do you want to keep doing it or you want to stop? If you're going to stop, you switch the status to do. If you want to keep doing it, you switch the status to do it. So let me show you how you can create that. First of all, we need to do is add a new status and let's call it just 5 minutes, right? Here is it. Let's change the color to something purple, for example. Then let's add a date property. Let's say 5-minute kickoff. And then another property, which is a formula. This will be the 5-minute countdown. And let me paste the formula here. Here's our formula. It's ready to use, so you'll find the link in the description so you can use it. Now let's add the automations. In fact, we need 2 automations for this feature. The first one is start 5 minutes. right? Now, when the status is just 5 minutes, what we need to do is completion, or sorry, not the completion date, the 5 minute kickoff need to be triggered. The time need to be triggered. Let's enable it. Now, the second one is when the 5 minutes end, 5 minute end. And let's say status of the task is now, it can be anything, in progress, done, not started, but not just 5 minutes, all right? Then 5 minute kickoff need to be clear. So we're going to pick a date and let's clear it, enable. So let's see if it's working. So let's say I'm going to switch. Let's add a new task. So let's say finish my final section in my website. It doesn't matter if you want to add a date or not, but let's just add one. Let's add just 5 minutes. We should see here, focus for 5 minutes. Now, once the 5 minutes will end, it will appear another message. Now, we are not going to wait for the 5 minutes to end. All right. So let's just switch the time here from 2:20 to 2:13. As you can see here, the 5 minutes are up. Continue, switch to doing. If you want to stop, switch to do. Now, let's say we are going to switch to in progress, for example. The formula disappear and the 5 minute kickoff also should disappear right now. Also, you can make it hidden when empty to keep things clear. So let's go to our second brain system. And I'm going to, and then I'm heading to the finance brain. Here we have new month, which is a page where I can see all the income of this month, the expenses, the subscription, everything. I'm just going to add a space like that. Magically, the name will change to November 2025. Now, here's the thing. This page here or this database repeats every single month at the first of the month. The problem is I wish if this automation can run once the repeating is active, like once the new month page created at the first of month, the automation can work automatically without even adding this space here or adding a relation or anything, because this automation triggered when an edit happened. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. You have to do it like a little bit of manually. But only what you have to do is add a space, for example. And where I really find this useful and simple for me when I'm using my second brain system and I can see my monthly finance appear here. And in a new month, I just can see it. Or all right, here's a new month. Let's just add a space and then the name will change automatically. So there is not much effort in there. So let me show you how you can add it. So we have this month page here. We have a start date. We have related to income, which is an income database here. We will need this for another automation later on. And we have an amount. The automation will name it month name. And so when any property is edited, the name will be changed. Format, date, trigger page, dot start date. So we're going to call the start date. And I only want the first 3 letters of the month. And I want the year. So that's it. That's the automation. So now if we go and create a new month here, and let me just set this one as default. Let's delete it. New one here, new month. Now automatically it should be November 2025. Here is it. So yeah, it's simple, but really useful. Let's say you have some types of projects. So let's add a select property type. And let's say you have design projects and you have websites building projects. Let's say that once you create a project with the type of website, you need specific tasks to be automatically assigned. Those tasks are fixed. Like whenever you have projects of building a website, you have like 2 tasks you always do. For example, setting the color palette and the typography, and also, for example, designing the websites on Figma, for example. So let me show you how you can do that. So let's go to automation here in the projects. And let's set, for example, the first one, which is when the type is website. And let's say type is website. We're going to add pages or tasks pages to this project. So add pages to tasks, automation, I think it's named. Yeah, here is it. The name of the task, draft, Figma design, that's it. Then we can add a project, which in this, it needs to be the trigger page, which is this one. The status you can add whatever you want. Let's say not started, for example. And finally, we can add all the other details like due. And let's make it date triggered. Or we can make the date of the task is the same date of our project. Add a custom formula, and we're going to add trigger page dot start date, right? And yeah, you can play with the other properties too. We can add another task, and we are just going to duplicate this one here. And let's say something like choose color palette, and let's say fonts. And yeah, that's it. Let's not just enable this one. So let's create a new design website here project. Let's add a start date of tomorrow, for example, and let's add the type website. Now, automatically 2 tasks should be created for this project. So now, as you can see, here is them. Choose color palettes and fonts and draft Figma design. If you running client works and you have invoices, income, etc., when you add a new invoice with a cost and status is paid, then you can add an income directly to the income page with the same cost. So let me show you how you can do that. So let's just make this one not paid. Let's delete this income here and let's add a new automation. So create income. So when the status or the paid select is paid, we want to add a page to the income. Now let's make the name of the income the same name of our invoice, for example. So let's say trigger page dot name. That's it, right? Then we're going to add the cost, or the amount of our income is the cost of the invoice. So trigger page dot cost. Then we can relate it to our invoice, of course, which should be trigger page, and let's save it. So if we switch this website design to paid, automatically an income page should be added to our database. So now, as you can see, it has been created successfully. Now let's move on to our last automation, which is recurring tasks. So we're going to build a simple one. So let me show you how you can do that. I already have the properties we need for this automation. So we have repeat frequency. So we have day, week, or month. Then we have repeat every, so 2 days or 2 weeks or 3 days or every single day. Those are the 2 properties we need. Now let's move on to our automation and how we can create it. So new automation, simple recurring task. So when the status is complete and also the repeat frequency is set to all of them, like then we add a page to our tasks automation, and the name will be the same name of our task. So trigger page dot name or task. Then the repeat every will be the same too. So trigger page dot repeat every. Then the frequencies too, repeat. So trigger page dot repeat frequency. Now for the due, we need to add a custom formula. So it will be this. We are going to trigger this page due date, and we're going to add days to the repeat every. So if we save it and enable it, and let's add like go to gym, we're going to add the dates for today. Let's say the frequency will be every day and repeat every single day. So let's say it's complete, and voila. Next one will be at November 3, which is the next day. If we say, for example, repeat every 2 days, and let's switch back to done. Now the date November 4. So yeah, those are 9 Notion automations. They are so useful and simple to build. Also, you will find the link of the template in the description below, free to download. And before leaving, if you have any solution to this automation number 9, which is, or number 8, I don't remember, which is the month name, like if we can make it repeat every single month and then automatically the name changed without even adding a space or relation or any edits, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much. And if you need an amazing Notion system to run your entire life in a much more gamified, motivational way, check out Second Brain 6.0.